Bonjour. Alors, je vais parler des verbes avec RE. So, verbs ending in RE. Okay, on page 116 of chapter 4, page 116 du chapitre 4, nous avons le verbe attendre. So we have the verb to wait for, attendre. So attendre quelqu'un is to wait for someone. Attendre ta maman, to wait for your mom. Okay, but that's the infinitive. Remember, to wait for. When you have the to in front, that's the infinitive of the verb. Attendre, to wait for. Okay, and now we're going to conjugate that verb with the subjects that you've already learned. Your first person singular, second person singular, third person singular, and then we go into the plural side as well. We, you, they. Okay, so again, it's very similar to the conjugation you've learned before with the ER verbs, manger, parler, and this time, so you have your stem. In this case, with attendre, your stem is attend, A-T-T-E-N-D. That's your stem, and then you're going to add the endings that you'll memorize. So in first person, you add your S. J'attends with an S. Second person, tu attends with an S at the end. And then il attend, elle attend, on attend is third person singular, and there's no S on the end of that. And then when we get to the other side, nous attendons. So same stem, and you're just adding the O-N-S. Nous attendons. And then vous is the formal form of you, or it can also be the plural form of you if you're speaking to a group. So vous attendez, ending in EZ, and then ils attendent, elles attendent. You have the liaison, the il and elle are plural, so they have an S on the end. And when there's a vowel following it, starting the next word, you connect it with the Z sound. So ils attendent. And you pronounce the last D in this one because it ends in E-N-T, and the E after the D makes you pronounce the D sound. So attendent, ils attendent, elles attendent. That's how you know it's plural. So a couple things to remember. And in your, the book I gave you, let's see, what is it? The French grammar book, which I think is a really good book. I think it explains the grammar pretty clearly. So refer to that when you are confused, and then if you still have questions, obviously ask me. But the first point that it points out, this is on page 32 and 33, and on page 33, it's talking about conjugating RE verbs, and it says that all the singular forms, so that's je, tu, il, elle, on, they're all pronounced the same way. So for the verb attendre, they sound the same. J'attends, tu attends, il attend, il, elle, on attend. Okay, and then the plural endings are all the same as the other verbs that you've learned how to conjugate. Okay, so when you learned parler, for example, that's an ER verb, the endings on the plural side are on, et, and then the ENT. Parlons, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle. And so the ending is going to be the same for the RE verbs. So you have in attendre, you have nous attendons, vous attendez, ils attendent. Okay, so the ONS, EZ, ENT. So that's the same. You don't have to learn anything new for those endings. Some good important verbs. If you look on that page 33, it gives you a list of verbs that are used often, and that is a good list to look at. I'd like you to learn those verbs, and then you can go through practicing conjugating each of these verbs because they all have the same endings because they're all RE verbs. Attendre is to wait for. Défendre is to forbid or to defend. Défendre. Descendre is to descend or go down. Like you go downstairs. Je descends les escaliers. Or l'avion descend. The plane descends. Entendre is to hear. Entendre. J'entends le chat. I'm hearing the cat. Anyway, okay. Perdre, to lose. Perdre. And rendre, to give back. Répondre, to answer. Rompre is to break, which I can't say that I use that particular verb a lot. Let's see. And that also has a different form for third person. Singular. That one. Anyway, so forget that verb. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, so that's how to conjugate RE verbs. Yes, they use attendre, and they also have their own list in your textbook on page 116. Let me see if they're different. Entendre, to hear. Perdre, répondre, vendre, rendre. Yeah, so they're the same. So if you want, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 extra verbs on page 116. Focus on those because those are important ones. And we'll talk about it more in class, but good luck with the conjugation of RE verbs. Merci et au revoir.